I now call the meeting to order, and I welcome everyone, counselors and guests, and to remind you that this is being live streamed on our YouTube page. Also, I need to remind everyone of your obligation as members of this council, of your duty under the State Government Ethics Act to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict. And if you at any time realize you have one, you need to let that be known, and to refrain from participating in any matter in which you have a conflict or an appearance of conflict. At this time, I would recognize are you still Vice President?
Technically, yes.
Okay, all right. Vice President Matt Smith for the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning, giving joy and praise for this day. For we know it is the day that you, the Lord, hath made. We ask you grant us the wisdom to discern right from wrong and the courage to stand firmly for justice in the face of adversity. May we always remember the weight of our responsibility to protect the public, and that our actions and decisions impact justice and the practice of law every day. Help us to embrace humility, acknowledging that we do not hold all the answers, and that learning and growth are lifelong journeys. Guide us to seek knowledge and experience, continuously striving to improve our skills and understanding of the law and the profession. When we leave this place where we have gathered with friends, grant us safe travels and protection to return to our homes and families. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Matt. We have a few special guests with us today. I'd like to recognize, of course, we have with us our Chief Justice, Nugi, and his lovely wife, Megan. And is Liz here with you? Liz Henderson? Oh, here she is. Chief Justice's Chief of Staff, welcome. Keith Capp, I think I saw you come in this morning. Past President, welcome. And Ryan Boyce, AOC Director, is here with us. Thank you, Ryan, for coming. If I missed anybody, please let me know. All right. So moving right along, I would ask our Chief Justice if he would like to make a few remarks for us this morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. First off, Megan wondered 4 times a year while on Friday mornings I was going somewhere. And I said, well, it's the state bar. And she said, oh, yeah, let's see. So anyway, Megan's here with me this morning. Megan also went to all 100 counties with me as we travel around to get a sense of the judicial branch. Let me start with how grateful the judicial branch is to the General Assembly for our budget. There were historic pay raises for the judiciary this time. Never before have we seen that, and in terms of funding, the priorities of the branch, the General Assembly was very gracious in giving us the funds that we need to meet our constitutional mandate. Courts be open and justice will be administered without favor, denial, delay. So grateful for all of your attorneys that have helped us address the backlog that we had with COVID. It was double digits across the board, and now we are not just where we were with pre-COVID numbers, but we are 20% better. So let me put it this way. If the case before COVID took a year, during COVID it took maybe a year and a half, and now that case should be resolved in 8 months. So we are working to ensure that justice is not delayed. Hard work on behalf of all your judicial staff. E-courts. Guess what? The rollout in Charlotte could not have gone better. The pilot districts helped us through a lot of rough places. They continue to help us refine. And as we, Director Boyce and I, Megan, as we went to Charlotte on a Sunday night to be there to encourage the rollout on that Monday, I was so pleased to see all of the pilot districts represented by numerous clerks, deputy clerks, assistant clerks, elected clerks, judges, others from the pilot districts that came down to help there in Mecklenburg County. And as I have mentioned to Todd, our motto going forward is going to be, hey, if they can do it in Mecklenburg County, they can do it anywhere. Okay? I will say the only glitch that happened is we were on the 11th floor in our hotel, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, the fire alarm went off. And 11th floor, I did say, so, you sit there and you wait for them to turn it off. They didn't. Eventually, we go downstairs and we find all these pilot district folks in various stages of pajamas. They're in the parking garage waiting for them to give us an all clear. And yes, when we got the all clear, we had to again climb the stairs up to the 11th floor. But hey, that had nothing to do with Acorn, y'all. That was something different. ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experience, Adverse Childhood Environment. We've had a task force looking at that. What is ACEs? Well, let me give you an example. There's 10 questions on a questionnaire. I've got the questionnaire here. Did you feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, or no one was there to protect or take care of you? Did you live with anyone who had a problem with drinking or drugs? Did your parents or adults in your home ever hit, punch, beat, threaten you? Did you live with anyone who had been in jail or prison? Did you feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were special? That's just 5 of the 10 questions. Basically, what we have found out is that the defendants in our criminal courts invariably, like 100%, score at least 4 out of these 10. Perhaps you're like I scored 0 out of 10. Okay. What do we do with this information now that we know that trauma in a child's life can end up causing them later on to act out in ways that causes them to appear as defendants in our courts? As we think about the young mind and how it's developing, what we also see is children that are witnesses or victims to violent crimes end up being defendants. Again, how do they process this horrific thing that they have just had to live through, to observe, and perhaps in our court system have to recount multiple times? So, show me the science. Okay, we've got the science. Then what do we do with it? I was a public policy major at Duke, and we always talked about, okay, here's the goal of a policy, okay, but what steps do we take to implement that policy to reach that goal? One of the things that we were piloting is a safe baby court. What does that mean? What we found is children ages to 3 are most vulnerable. We all knew that already. And to the extent that we can find permanency during that age period, the child will have a greater likelihood of success. Well, what does that mean? That means on the front end, we're going to bring in counselors. We're going to help get the types of treatment that the biological parents may need. The idea is you give the parents all the resources they need to be successful. But if they can't demonstrate that success in a short period of time, then those children will pursue permanency in another setting. Judge Corpening in Wilmington and Judge McIntyre up in the northwest around the Watauga County area are piloting those programs for us, and we have other counties where we're going to roll them out. We're able to find some foundational grants to help us with that as we try to look and see, is this truly going to make a difference? We're training all of our district court judges about trauma-informed courts. This information about understanding that children who score high on the ACEs scale often or may even back that out in court. And how do we help them process and work through that? I'm seeking funding for counseling for children who have been witnesses or victims. It's a travesty to me that we don't have more intentionality toward those young people that have been victims or witnesses. I'm working with the Community County Commissioners Association. Their incoming president tragically lost a son to an opioid overdose. He understands the need that we have for treatment courts. Up until 2008, the state was funding treatment courts. During the budget shortfall of 2008, treatment courts were defunded. There are a bunch of counties that have stepped up and continue to partner with our court system, with treatment courts. I've emphasized to our chief district court judges how I expect them to explore ways with their county commissioners with regard to treatment courts. And I'm pleased to say we are seeing more and more treatment courts. The General Assembly funded our request for a study. We want to be able to go to the General Assembly next session and say, here's what our study of treatment courts across the state have shown. And this is a wonderful place for you to invest tax dollars so that we can break this cycle. Many of us that have been in the court system for a while understand that sadly we see generations of folks coming before us, and how can we break that cycle? Certainly, treatment for mental health, substance abuse is a big part of that, and I'm grateful for the partnership that we have with county commissioners across our state in pursuing treatment courts. Legal deserts, legal oases, okay? We are continuing to partner with the State Bar. We are grateful for Marcy and her leadership on this issue as we, having recognized that half of our counties have a deficiency of attorneys, are working toward strategies of how do we get folks to go to these legal oases, as Jimbo Perry, our co-director, has called these. We have an incredibly beautiful state, opportunities for folks to be not just attorneys, but as the Justice Thomas reminded us last night, to be counselors at law. And certainly the rural areas provide that opportunity. Transitions are difficult. Mel Wright, having been the original director of the Chief Justice Commission on Professionalism, has told us that he is going to retire again, and this time he really means it. So Jimbo Perry will be assuming that full responsibility starting in January. I'm grateful beyond words for Mel's leadership as he has been the face of professionalism across our state for a long time. And what he has done behind the scenes, we all know, whether it's a lawyer or a judge that seems to have gotten off the track, that we can call on Mel to go in and meet with them and reason with that person, and generally speaking has been very successful with that. I'm confident that Jimbo will be able to do the same. Speaking of changes, y'all have a few changes going on here in the leadership, but maybe not so much. I have had the privilege of meeting with your leadership, and I am so impressed with all the folks that y'all have chosen as your leaders. I'm so grateful for Darren and the way that he has certainly partnered with the Office of Chief Justice and then with Marcy and now Todd. Todd and I have had opportunities to talk, and Todd also encouraged with understanding, keeping things in the lane. Certainly that brings to mind separation of powers. Why would I think of that? But anyway, the whole idea of knowing what our calling is and to do that with excellence. And then the idea of continuing to pursue access to justice. Thank you for your vision on those things. Marcy, you are leaving shoes that I think are basically unfillable, not just because you have the smallest feet. But you have dared to go places State Bar presidents have never been before. And you have taken the message that the State Bar, yes, there to protect the public, but is not an enemy, but a friend of our profession that has and will continue to reap incredible benefits. Todd, I'm sure as you've accompanied her to several of those visits, you understand that she plumb wore out a car. So,
I've seen the mileage on it.
Anyway, as I mentioned last night, there is no higher honor in our profession for each of you to have been chosen by lawyers across the state in your district to say, we want this individual to represent us at the State Bar as we self-regulate our profession. You then having chosen in your leadership, and Catherine, you're joining an amazing group here. I just applaud y'all for your vision with regard to that, and I continue to look forward to working with y'all as we seek to fulfill our constitutional mandate and protect those fundamental God-given rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, fruits of labor, all those things that all North Carolinians are entitled to. Thank y'all for allowing me to be with you this morning.
Before you leave, thank you for taking the time. You always, you just don't like don't have anything else to do. We appreciate you coming over here and just being with us. We feel like we made a really great relationship with you, Chief Justice, and we do appreciate you and all that you do as well. And Megan, I don't know what he would do without you. So, he's got a lot of miles in his car too. So, thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you all.
All right, moving along. We have new public members of the council, and I hope they're here because we would like to recognize them. Samantha Holmes from Raleigh. Samantha, you here? Welcome. We're so happy to have you. And Damon Sells from Carborough. Damon, are you here?
I don't think he learned so late before this meeting that he wasn't able to reschedule.
Okay. We can certainly give an official welcome in January then. We also sadly have two retiring counselors, and that's always sad for us. John Webster from District 28 served from 2015 to 2023. John, please stand up so we can hear you. We do appreciate your service, John. We also have Rich Costanza, District 29, who served from 2015 to 2023. Rich. And he's been here for all this time. We just learned this summer he's actually got some dance moves. So, there's really sticking talents that you have. All right. We're on the script again. Got something else for you. It's not just a glass when you come up. All right, so next we have, this is exciting, we get to present Student Pro Bono Service Awards. And the pro bono service of the following recent law school graduates was exemplary. There is no doubt that each of these young lawyers, who are, I think, mostly here with us today, will continue to make a big impact on our profession. and on their respective communities. I'm honored to present them with the Student Pro Bono Award, Service Award. And please come forward as I read your name to receive your certificate. First, from Campbell School of Law, we have Bridget Kelly. Bridget is a 2023 graduate of the Norman Adrian Wiggins School of Law at Campbell. During her time as a law student at Campbell, Bridget was heavily involved and invested in the performance and support of pro bono legal services. During her 3L years, she was a managing director of the Pro Bono Council and worked closely with the Assistant Dean of Pro Bono Opportunities to foster and encourage pro bono participation by the faculty and student body. She is a 2023 Campbell Law recipient of the Pro Bono Publico Award for her dedication to and passion for pro bono legal services. Thank you so very much, Bridget, for all of your service and your efforts. Thank you so much. Next, we have with us from Duke's School of Law, Amanda Jose, if I got that right. Amanda is described by her nominator as a force of nature for the public good. While at Duke Law, Amanda completed more than 1,000 hours of pro bono and clinical service work, a new student record. As a certified law student with the Civil Justice Clinic, she coordinated the clinic's COVID-19 eviction advice clinic, which helped keep Durham tenants housed during the pandemic. On the pro bono side, Amanda was highly involved in numerous projects, including the Fair Chance Project, Healthcare Planning Project, Lawyer on the Line, and the Veterans Assistance Project, where she also served as president. And while others headed off to relax, Amanda was the sole 3L to spend her spring break working with Pisgah Legal Services to provide much-needed criminal record expunction relief to residents of Western North Carolina. For her incredible contributions, Amanda received the Duke University Algernon Sidney Sullivan Award, Duke Bar Association's Richard Lynn Service Award, Above Self Award, Dean's Award in Ethics, Duke Law School's Pro Bono All-Star Award, and the Clinical Legal Education Association's Outstanding Clinic Award. My goodness. Congratulations, Amanda. Thank you so much. We now also have from the Elon School of Law, Jeanette Carson. Come forward, Jeanette. During her time at Elon School of Law, Jeanette provided 405 hours of pro bono service to the community. After completing an externship at Legal Aid during her 1L summer, Jeanette stayed on to work in the Domestic Violence Unit, assisting victims in obtaining protective orders. The following summer, she volunteered at the Guilford County Public Defender's Office, where she assisted public defenders in providing defense for indigent clients accused of a crime. Jeanette's pro bono work includes serving as a guardian ad litem volunteer, advocating for the best interests of the foster children she represented. Jeanette is also a moot court board member, leadership fellow, student mentor, and treasurer for the Black Law Students Association. Thank you so very much, Jeanette, for all of your work. From the North Carolina Central School of Law, Olivia Fisher. Olivia completed one of the highest number of pro bono service hours among her classmates at NCCU School of Law. Olivia's commitment to pro bono and community outreach has been impactful as she worked to bring awareness and legal support to people with disabilities. Her pro bono commitments, including work with Legal Aid's Child Advocate Program, Disability Rights North Carolina, and Legal Aid's Expulsion Clinic. In addition, she held integral roles at the Law School of Law's American Constitution Society and the Civil Rights Society, along with the Juvenile Justice Clinic. She also secured funding to host a symposium, A More Perfect Union, a symposium in juvenile justice, this spring at the law school. Olivia has had a lasting impact on her law school and the community. Thank you, Olivia, for all of your service. UNC School of Law, we have Kate Gittes. Morning, Kate. In her time at UNC School of Law, Kate was remarkable, serving on the editorial staff of the Law Review, as a member of the Dean's Advisory Council, and a student in the Military and Veterans Law Clinic. What was more remarkable, however, was her dedication to pro bono work. Kate logged over 250 hours of pro bono work as a student, focusing mainly on projects related to supporting refugees, researching jury selection, and juvenile justice. Among her many projects, Kate worked tirelessly to advocate for parole for a man serving a long prison sentence for a teenage conviction, and she organized a mock trial to provide training for social work students and child advocates. For her work, Kate received UNC School of Law's 2L of the Year Pro Bono Publico Award, and in 2022, and the 3L of the Year Award in 2023. Thank you so very much, Kate, for your service. The last recipient from Wake Forest Law School has moved to Georgia, and she was not able to be here, but hopefully she is listening while we're live streaming. So I'm going to read. She did so much, I want to read her bio. Jennifer Webster served as the executive director of the Wake Forest Law Pro Bono Project last year. Jennifer led the program through a mission statement, vision, and thorough strategic planning for all standing projects. With that foundation, the reach of the Pro Bono Project expanded significantly. New community partnerships now include work with the following: Church World Services of Greensboro and Center for the North Carolinians to assist recent Afghan refugees with immigration paperwork. Disability Advocates of Northwest North Carolina to help unhoused persons apply for disability benefits. Legal Aid of Winston-Salem to help people facing eviction and domestic violence. Lawyer on the Line, Legal Aid of North Carolina to help with eviction diversion, and the North Carolina Prisoner Legal Services to provide legal research for North Carolina prisoners. So if you could all give Jennifer a round of applause. So at this time, we are going to proceed with the reinstatement hearing of David Sean Clark. We will, at this time, we will temporarily adjourn the council meeting and convene the State Bar Council for reinstatement hearing. Live stream. Kurt, go ahead and give his report on the LAMP committee. He needs to head over to the CJCP. So come on, Kurt.
Thanks, Mary.
Sorry, thank you, Mary.
Thanks, everyone. I love cutting in line. That's kind of my favorite thing in life, so my bucket list check. LAMP committee met yesterday afternoon. We had a nice meeting. I wanted to pass on three main points. The first thing was Wake Forest University Law is having its symposium, a military symposium, on Friday, November 10th, which is the federal holiday for Veterans Day. It is a free symposium. You all receive notices of it in an email from the bar. LAMP is co-sponsoring with Wake Forest. The former TJ, General Garpino, is going to be a speaker there, and it's a great program. So we've all of a sudden mustered up 130, 140 people already, but come on down. It's wide open, and it's at Wake Forest Law, and it's going to be a great day. So good work for the LAMP. We finally figured out how to get people in the seats and really good speakers from both the Judge Advocate School up at Charlottesville and some of our good folks from down here in uniform and out of uniform. The second part I want to mention, it's been in the news for the last 4, 5, 10 years about the need for special prosecution teams for sexual assault type prosecutions in the military. Being outside the chain of command, those decisions that generally go to the commander, that's going into effect right now. Bear with the services. Each one has a little bit different code, but they have specially assigned independent special prosecutors, JAGs, assigned to those teams throughout the country, Europe and Pacific, that reports up through the Secretary of Army directly. So this is a really interesting thing about sexual assaults and things in the, that you may, anyone near the installations that do criminal defense work or whatever, this is a good independent deal. And then finally, you notice in the last budget, even though we've given everyone the right to carry guns apparently into the courtroom and made judges older than they could be now, they've also included some really, really good things, including funding for the Gaston County Veterans Treatment Court. And that's a really good thing. And like I said, veteran treatment courts are now, I think, 8 different jurisdictions in the state. The Land Committee is going to write an article about essentially 10 years of veterans treatment courts. And this diversionary court program is essential for a lot of our vets to keep them out of prison, keep them out of jail, keep them with their families, keep them in, and recognizes their needs and get them to treatment. So this, I just want to report on that. And then finally, the Veterans Justice Initiative. You may have read something about that. It's a funding essentially if you have an indigent check or the criminal docket and the first appearance is going to have a checkpoint. If you're a veteran, they're going to make sure you at least get to and know where to get treatment and what veterans services are available. So all of those are good things. All, frankly, some good push from the Land Committee. And thanks for all your allowing us to do what we can do.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kurt. That's some good stuff going on with the Land Committee. And Mary, thank you for allowing Kurt to jump ahead.
And thank you all for allowing me to jump in.
I'll try to keep us moving along quickly, but I do have a short report and just want to highlight a few of items that we're working on over at the IALTA program. Most of you all know what IALTA is and what we do, but for those who are newer, IALTA is the Interest on Lawyers Trust Accounts program here at the State Bar, the philanthropic arm of the State Bar that does our work to support civil legal aid and other administration of justice efforts as a funder primarily. We have a vision that I think many people share, that we'll one day be in a position where everyone who needs legal services can get those needs met. There's lots of partners in that work, including everyone here in this room. And the way that we're working towards that is by providing funding for primarily civil legal aid across the state. You all received this annual report from IALTA in July. I do have some additional copies if there's anyone who did not get a copy or who would like an extra to pass on to someone back in your home district. But so I'll save the highlights for your reading from this report that sort of speaks to 2022 and our activities last year. To talk a little bit about 2023, I think I've shared with you all that in addition to our regular grant cycle, this year the Board of Trustees decided to open what we called an out-of-cycle grant opportunity to support some strategic initiatives within the community. This was responsive to a set of recommendations that came from the legal needs assessment for ways that with some additional funding, programs could try to work towards the specific problems and barriers that were identified in the legal needs assessment. The Board of Trustees approved in August $1.5 million to go out through 5 grants over a 2-year period, and those are supporting family law, legal services for immigrant populations, communications and outreach. So the way that folks learn about the availability of services and what their rights are, and then coordinated intake, which is the way that folks get into the system potentially to be able to access legal services from a legal aid program. So we are excited about those 5 grants, and I hope to be able to come back and share more with all of you about the work that's been done through those grant programs. I did just want to highlight, because it's relevant to some of the work of the Access to Justice Committee, 2 of those grants are working on things that I think are really quite connected to some of the work within the Access to Justice Committee. One is around unbundled services and having the legal aid programs try to expand the way that they provide unbundled services within family law specifically. So I'm hopeful that that program maybe even can accelerate as our work within the Unbundled Services Subcommittee moves forward. And then the other is a fellowship opportunity for expanding family law in Eastern North Carolina, which is primarily going to Interbanks Legal Services, which I think some of you all may have heard about. So we're excited about sort of those opportunities and also really the fit with some of the work that we're doing on the Access to Justice Committee. And then 2024 grant making, I just wanted to note, we received 47 grant requests for 2024 funding that totaled close to $11 million. The application period is now closed, but we're currently in the stage of reviewing, collecting additional information, and getting ready for the board to meet in December for that grant deliberation. Just a little highlight on income. We now are in a place to date this year where income is exceeding $10 million. Just for some perspective, that's more than where we were at the end of 2022. So we're continuing to sort of be in a place where the economic conditions and the increased interest rates are really, really helping us, particularly those of our prime partners, which we always like to highlight, Bank of Oak Ridge, Blue Ridge Bank, First Bank and Trust Company of Virginia, First Capital Bank, Providence Bank and Trust, Roxborough Savings Bank, U.S. Bank, and Wells Fargo. Some of you all have seen this, but some did not. Another highlight of this year is that we've been able to put together this short video to help explain a little bit to folks that otherwise might not know what IOLTA is and what we do. So I'm going to play the video quickly, if you don't mind.
Your law firm just made a deposit into a trust account on behalf of your client. Did you know that one deposit starts a powerful chain of events? With that deposit, you helped Jay meet an attorney who helped him access medical care after he was denied treatment. You also helped Anna access legal services to help make critical repairs after a hurricane made her house unlivable. Through North Carolina Interest on Lawyers' Trust Accounts, or NCIOLTA, your deposit helps so many North Carolinians meet their basic needs and protect their rights. Here's how it works. You make a deposit. That deposit earns interest. That interest becomes dollars NCIOLTA uses to award grants to nonprofits across our state. Today, only a fraction of North Carolinians can access critical legal services they need to thrive. Through NCIOLTA grants that attorneys like you make possible, we've awarded more than $100 million to organizations that provide legal aid focused on everything from housing and healthcare to education and economic stability. This is just one way we strive for a better future for our state. Together, lawyers, banking professionals, and nonprofit partners all work toward equitable access to civil legal aid, creating a North Carolina where everyone can fairly navigate the justice system. To get involved, consider choosing an NCIOLTA Prime Partner Bank, which offers high interest rates, or donating to or volunteering with one of our partners.
And then lastly, this is Pro Bono Week. I think many of you all might know that. Of course, we recognize the 6 young female attorneys this morning who are recent grads that have done great pro bono work. And I just wanted to share about a new initiative that's just launched, which is a partnership of several of our IOLTA grantee organizations called Pro Bono Go. This is a new web-based platform that the North Carolina Pro Bono Resource Center, Charlotte Center for Legal Advocacy, Legal Aid of North Carolina, and Pisgah Legal Services have worked on together, which allows you to go on and kind of in real time search and see cases that you could choose to take as a pro bono attorney. They're going to be loading cases in of folks who come to them but that they don't have the capacity to serve, and then you'll have the ability to press a little button and submit something to indicate your interest in taking that case. From there, then there's a process, if it's necessary, to do a complex check to make that happen. But we think it has the opportunity to really potentially expand pro bono and also just make it easier on both sides to do that pro bono matchmaking that so many of the programs do as part of their pro bono programs. This is just a little screenshot to show this is kind of what the system looks like. So in addition to being able to search by subject area or geographic area, you can also sign up for email alerts. So if there's a case that's posted and it really fits your interest, the system will kind of ping you, not for any commitment, at that point, but just, again, to try to facilitate kind of a more efficient matching of pro bono attorneys with cases and folks who need assistance. So go to probonogo.org to sign up. That's my report.
Thank you so much, Mary. Appreciate all of the work, your work. All right, Warren, you're up.
I'll be very quick here to discuss the LAP developments or programs over the course of the last quarter. You will refer, hopefully, to your materials or online. Robin prepared and has provided to you our annual report, so I'm not going to go over that. It's there for your reading pleasure. A couple of highlights I will point out. They opened 157 new or reopened files this year. Thus, also closed about 440 files. Thus, right now have over 460 files open right now. And this is with the staff of 2 clinicians, a field director, and Robin, who are directly with the folks, the lawyers and law students and judges that they help. I had the pleasure of going to what's called COLAP, the Commission of, or Conference of LAP Programs, which is the national program. I know Marcy went last year. I had the opportunity to do that. It was in scenic Springfield, Massachusetts, but that being said, it was also, more importantly to me, was I got to go up there with Robin and Nikki and Kathy and Candace, and I cannot tell you what a great team we have helping our lawyers in North Carolina. It's unbelievable how supportive they are of each other, how diligent and passionate they are about what they do for the lawyers of the state. And if you have an opportunity to ever see or talk to them, please thank them for what they do. I know that, for instance, just this past month, I've coordinated 2 self-referrals to LAP with lawyers I've encountered, and they've been thankful from here till the cows come home. So always remember that you as a counselor might be one of the first people that become aware of these type of things that might be helpful for a person to work with LAP. Of the open files right now, it looks like about 65% of them involve psychological issues, 45% involve substance use. If you add those up, that's more than 100%. But that's because, along with many other categories, a lot of these things are multiple issues that they're dealing with. Rarely do you have just substance use without some psychological issues too. In the last year, for a whole year, they did 74 CLE presentations, live CLE presentations. That does not include all the video downloads that are available now that you can get off their website. And they have almost 200 LAP volunteers who will be gathering, I think it's next weekend, November 3rd, for the LAP annual conference. I'll be there. It's going to be awesome. I've been, I think, about 6 or 7 times. It is a celebration of the volunteers who do so much work for our lawyers. I know that Takia and Evan are out there. This might be Evan's last LAP conference, but thank you all for all your work too. And then I'd also like to say February 23rd, the Minority Outreach Program, which has been put on annually for 5-6 years, maybe more, draws hundreds of lawyers from around the state here to Raleigh. It's incredibly popular. It's pretty moving, so I understand. And at that next program, they'll be presenting Ted Edwards with our DSA. He's such a big supporter of LAP, and as you know, my predecessor is the chair of the board, that he wanted to get it done there. So, President presented there. But that is my report.
Thank you, Mark. We are so blessed to have LAP in our state. I can tell you that when we go to the district bar meetings and we have LAP volunteers to present to the district bars across our state, there's not a sound in the room. It's very impactful. So we thank you for all that you do. All right, Carmen, our designated interim counsel, effective November 1 person, is coming up to the, hopefully she's taking some good lessons from Catherine Jean about how to do this.
And I propose order. Yes, Catherine Jean taught me well. The report of the activities of the Office of Counsel for the last quarter is in your materials, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
She did Catherine Jean proud. All right, moving right along, I'm going to, we're now going to present the report of the Executive Committee. The Executive Committee recommends to the Council the approval of the minutes of its meeting on July the 21st. I'm going to call for a vote on that motion. So those in favor? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. I now recognize Todd to give us a recommendation of the Executive Committee on Finance and Audit and Appointments Advisory.
Good morning. The materials supporting these recommendations and motions are in your materials on SharePoint. The first motion coming from the Finance and Audit Committee to the Executive Committee, from the Executive Committee to the Council, is a motion to approve the third quarter 2023 financial statements.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Second motion is to approve $300 as the annual membership fee for 2024.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve $25 as the 2024 annual CLE attendance fee and approval of the fee schedule for sponsors and members proposed by the CLE board.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next motion is to approve the Client Service Security Fund Board's fiscal year end, that's from October 22 to September 30, 2023 financial statements, and the board's budget for fiscal year 23-24.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve the Client Security Fund Board's recommendation that the Supreme Court impose no assessment for 2024.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And the final motion is to approve the revisions to the council's fiscal policy on credit cards.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Following motions are from the Appointment Advisory Committee. Motion of the Executive Committee to the Council relative to the Board of Continuing Education. The first motion is to appoint Tiffany Cox and to reappoint Paul Capia and Judge Ashley Parker to 3-year terms on the board.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second motion regarding the CLE board is the motion to appoint Adrienne S. Blocker to a 1-year term as chair of the board and to appoint Judge Ashley Parker to a 1-year term as vice chair of the board.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, relating to the Board of Law Examiners, the motion is to appoint George R. Hicks III, Judge Ned W. Mangum, and Roger A. Askew to 3-year terms on the board.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next motion relative to the Board of Law Examiners is to appoint Stephen Baynard to complete the term of D. Clark Smith on the board.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Turning to the Client Security Fund Board of Trustees, the first motion is to appoint Rich Costanza, our own, Rich Costanza, to a 5-year term on the board.
That's his recusal.
So noted.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Rich. We'll let you get away.
The next motion from the Board of Trustees relates to, and the motion is to appoint Amy Richardson to the 1-year term as chair of the board, and to appoint Erica Taylor Jones to a 1-year term as vice chair of the board.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Turning to the board for paralegal certification, the first motion is to appoint our own Daryl Davidson to a 3-year term on the board.
I don't think he's here.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The next motion is to appoint Robert Hasty Jr., Shawana Almendarez, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Jennifer Smith Sapfine, to 3-year terms on the board.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And the final motion is to appoint Benita Angel Gwen Powell to a 1-year term as chair of the board, and to appoint Precious Vines Harris to a 1-year term as vice chair of the board.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Moving right along to other matters from the executive committee. Next is a motion to approve the following dates and locations for the meetings of the council 2014, January 16 through 19 here at the State Bar, April 16 through 19 here at the State Bar, July 16 through 19 at the Beaufort Hotel in Beaufort, and October 29 through November 1 here at the State Bar. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, there's a motion to approve a publication, proposed rule amendments. These are agenda items from the executive committee agenda, items 5.1 and 5.2. So is there a motion to publish those items? We don't have a motion. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you for your patience. Next, motion to adopt proposed rule amendments and transmit to the Chief Justice and Supreme Court for approval. Those line items are on the executive committee agenda items. Did I miss one? I did both again. What am I going to do with you? All right, where was I? Motion to adopt proposed rule amendments and transmit to the Chief Justice and Supreme Court for approval. Again, these are executive committee agenda items 6.1, 6.2, 6.3 that in your materials. As all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So the next item is a motion to ratify the action of me and the other officers appointing Carmen Bannon to serve as the interim counsel of the State Bar. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have some reports, and first would be our own, well, I guess he's still Vice President.
Yep.
I'm getting confused about this. Matt.
Thank you. Access to Justice Standing Committee continues its good work. Briefly, we will probably have an action item in January for Rule 16 unbundled legal services. So be on the lookout for that. I know you're all anxious to read. That's my report.
There you go. All right, Rich, I believe you're up next for administrative.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, folks. The administrative committee met on Wednesday, and we are we're asking council to adopt the following recommendations. 102 lawyers were transferred to an active status. 2 upon fulfilling certain requirements, and 4 non-pro-tunc to a date in the past. 14 lawyers were reinstated from an active status, 2 upon fulfilling certain requirements. 6 lawyers were reinstated from suspended status, 1 upon fulfilling certain requirements. 2 lawyers were granted pro bono status, and 1 petition was denied, lawyer seeking pro bono status. 4 lawyers, we approved having show cause notices issued to 4 lawyers for failure to comply with membership requirements. 46 lawyers will be receiving suspension orders for failing to comply with membership requirements. We approved amendments to the 2nd Judicial District's bylaws, and you folks will receive a list of members from your districts to contact about membership requirements. We'd ask you to contact members of your district to make sure they get on track before they are noticed to appear and show cause. Just like to say, just very, very briefly, 9 years ago, I came to this meeting and I listened to Alan Head say that he was guided by the goal of leaving the campsite cleaner than when he found it. And I was so happy to hear our soon-to-be president say essentially the same words last night. It is my opinion that everyone in this room is and has been guided by that principle. And it's been one of the greatest honors in my life to serve with you folks. And I thank you.
Rich, and John both. I mean, what can you say? You know, your time, your sacrifice to better our profession and to protect the public in our great state of North Carolina. And like I say, we don't let you get too far away, so we do appreciate you answering yet another call. So thank you.
Do I have to make a motion?
Yes, you do.
Move that the administrative committee's report be accepted by the council.
Second.
Marcy,
Question?
before we vote on that, I need to recuse from the one involved with Bill Anthony from the administrative report.
So that it.
Second.
All in favor, say. Okay. Yeah, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Bobby, you're up. Authorized practice.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, folks. For the Authorized Practice Committee, grateful for all the members' work. Special thanks to Tessa, to Savannah in connection with the prepaid programs, and Liza for working with us on the rule amendments that were voted on just a short while ago. Also, very special thanks to Kia. She had to leave a short while ago, but thank you to Kia for all of your good work. This past Wednesday, the Authorized Practice Committee did approve the rule amendments that this body voted on earlier to conform the rules more closely to the actual practice of the committee and the council and the bar. 2 new prepaid legal plans were approved. We also issued 7 letters of caution, and a couple of those involved referrals to other jurisdictions. For those of you interested, page 84 is where you can find our report, and I do not believe we have any action items today.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate
Thank you.
you and the work of your committee.
Thank you.
Next, Anna, communications.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, everybody. I'll be brief. Due to the good work of both Peter and Brian, communications continues to move forward. The bar will do a presentation next week about the changes to CLE rules for lawyers that want to join. Peter could probably give you more details about the date and time of that. The law firm administrator portal is in the works for a website which would allow like law firm administrators to pay all the lawyers in the firm to do is one credit card payment, so that's good. We are continuing to encourage counselors to send out the newsletters to your local constituents and the template that Peter provides. I'm sure it'll go out again, and so you could use that as your starting point if you'd like. We are talking about assembling a list of past counselors to provide special updates to them and keep them in the loop about things as so that we don't lose touch with each other. And Laura's talking about doing short informational video series that would be, very 5 or 10 minute videos that would be done to sort of explain basic things, how to do something. And Meredith had a great suggestion of how to eschew funds to the state if you need to, that type of thing. And Dorothy had the good suggestion. We were talking about the future of the podcast, and I think that may be somewhat uncertain, but for the ones that are in existence and maybe future ones, we'll migrate those to YouTube, which has a higher viewership, and more people will happen upon that if they're interested. So there are no action items, I believe, so that's all that we have from communications. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Next, we have Catherine Ann to come and give us our report of ethics committee.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ethics Committee met yesterday, and specifically I think we want to note the good work of Brian, Nicole, Suzanne, Lanice, and Ann. They all do excellent work every day and make the Ethics Committee their work go very smoothly. If you're in Pitt County or Wake, and Wake counselors, you guys have already received an email from Ann Parkin, you're going to have the benefit of being audited this next quarter. At the committee finalized work on 2 opinions, which are in your material. Proposed 2023 FEO 3, which is about the installation of a third-party self-service kiosk in a lawyer's office, and proposed 2023 FEO 4, which is about the use of a lawyer's trade name in regards to search engines. These opinions will be published in the State Bar Journal and on the State Bar's website over the next quarter for comment, and they're also in your materials. We have 1 action item for the council. Following publication during the prior quarter, the Ethics Committee recommends the adoption of proposed 2022 FEO 4, billing considerations for overlapping services. The opinion is in your materials, and on behalf of the committee, I move to adopt the opinion.
Thank you, Catherine. Do we need a second on that? No seconds. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Catherine. All right, Kevin. Grievance.
Thank you, Madam President.
Let me first acknowledge just all the time, energy, and effort that goes into the work of the Grievance Committee, both by the State Bar staff and those who serve on the Grievance Committee. I have the privilege of going around to all of the subcommittee meetings during their deliberations, and it's just rewarding to see everybody's prepared, the discussions are thorough, and at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get it right. And so I can't thank you enough for the work that you do. Special thanks to Gordon Brown, Walter Brock, and Andrea Capua, who serve as chairs of the vice chairs of the Grievance Committee. Leading up to this week's Grievance Committee meeting, several files were handled by the chair and the vice chairs. 143 files were dismissed by the chair, 76 files were dismissed by the chair and a vice chair, and 8 files were dismissed and retained. We then had our subcommittee meetings and grievance committee meeting on yesterday, October 26th. 227 files were dismissed, 8 files were dismissed and retained, 3 files continued, 2 lawyers were referred to the Trust Accounting Compliance Program, 2 lawyers received letters of caution, 3 lawyers received letters of warning, 4 lawyers received admonitions, 2 lawyers received reprimands, 2 lawyers received censures, 7 lawyers were referred to the Disciplinary Hearing Commission. We also acted in the Grievance Committee on 1 file from the Grievance Review Panel, and then there is another Grievance Review Panel at noon today. And so thanks for those who are sticking around for an extra hour or so to handle that. That's a report.
Thank you. Can you stand right there for just a minute, please? So we need to really, really, really thank Kevin. He has worked so hard, and the new review panels, I think, have gone very smoothly, and you have provided wonderful leadership this year, and I really do appreciate it. All right, Gary.
All right, this is a report of the Issues Committee. We have 3 subcommittees that have been working over the course of the last year. The first one I want to talk about is the study for deferral programs. Walter Brock has been the subcommittee chair, and Walter reported to us that they are still making progress. However, it's going to take a little time. They run into some issues that I don't think they anticipated, and they want to explore them fully before they come to the council with a recommendation with regards to that. But thank you, Walter, for your hard work in that, and your subcommittee members. I know that's been a big pull over the course of the year. We appreciate that. The other one I want to speak to next is the subcommittee that's studying the succession planning. Ashley Campbell is chairing that. Ashley and her subcommittee have been working hard this year, and she promises that there will be a recommendation come January, so we expect that there will be a recommendation of some sort regarding not a mandatory necessarily a succession planning requirement, but a suggestion that maybe we can make an opt-in possibility whenever lawyers are paying for their bar dues each year. The last committee is an action item committee, and that is the study of random audits of trust account programs. Unfortunately, it's not going to help Wake County or Pitt County, but this is a policy amendment. It's not a rule amendment that has to go to the Supreme Court. Barbara Christie has been chairing this program, but those materials should be in your materials for concerning the changes, and essentially we're going away from auditing a single judicial district to a more random of auditing lawyers across the state. So any lawyer across the state can be subject to an audit, not necessarily someone in a judicial district. So the Issues Committee has a motion to adopt a policy regarding the new random audit of trust accounts program. Anybody have any questions? I'll tender Mr. Bolak to answer those because he is the expert.
Any questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we now have our own Warren Savage. Is that him? Yep.
Thank you, Marcy, for the last time I'll ask you. For a motion to go into closed session under General Statute 143-318.A11A2 to prevent the premature disclosure of a honorary degree, scholarship prize, or similar award to our discussion of distinguished services.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Family of the deceased Judge Shirley Fulton of Mecklenburg County. Her family wanted to do that here before this body, so we'll be making that request to be on the agenda at the next meeting. I'd like to thank also Suzanne for everything she does, Suzanne Labor, as far as keeping us going in that committee. All right. So with this, I'd like to advise that our committee is moving with the approval of the executive committee that the council approve the nominations of the lawyers that we discussed in closed session, candidate A and candidate B, for the presentation of the John B. McMillan Distinguished Service Award, subject to our standard due diligence checks.
Any second on that?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. It's been a wonderful work.
You're doing great. You're great. So there's one little item of business that I need to just throw out there. So those of you who were not at the counselor's dinner Wednesday night, or that I did not see, staff members that I haven't yet to see, I did have a small token of my appreciation in the form of a glass that's sitting out on the table. And if you would just please pick one up if you don't already have one. I think they're out beside where Caroline was sitting this morning when you came in. So please do take that and enjoy, and take that as my thank you for all that you've done. So I ask at this time if there's any further business to come before the council.
Yes, I have one item. We want to present a resolution for Marcia H. Armstrong. I call her Marcia Armstrong.
Like Catherine.
You guys hear me? You didn't? Okay. I want to make a presentation of a resolution for Marcy H. Armstrong. Whereas Marcia H. Armstrong was elected by her fellow lawyers from Judicial District 11B, now 13, in 2011 to serve as their representative in this body. And she was thereafter re-elected counselor for 2 successive 3-year terms. And whereas in October 2020, Ms. Armstrong was elected vice president, and in October 2021, she was elected president-elect. And on October 21, 2022, she was sworn in as president of the North Carolina State Bar. And whereas during her tenure with the North Carolina State Bar, Ms. Armstrong has served on the following committees and boards. Ad hoc Trust Accounting Committee, Appointments Advisory Committee, including as chair and vice chair, Authorized Practice Committee, Communications Committee, Distinguished Service Awards Committee, Ethics Committee, Executive Committee, including as chair and vice chair, Finance and Audit Committee, including as vice chair and chair, Grievance Committee, including as vice chair, Issues Committee, including as vice chair and chair, Legislative Committee, including as chair, Proactive Management-Based Regulation Committee, Publications Editorial Board, Special Committee to study amendments to the ABA Model Rules on Advertising, Opioid Summit Special Committee, and the Board of Continuing Legal Education. And whereas Ms. Armstrong contributed wise counsel and the unique perspective of a family law specialist to all committee appointments, and she played an essential role as chair of the Legislative Committee when she spearheaded the effort to improve communications and relationships with the members of the General Assembly. And whereas Marcia Armstrong, President Armstrong, kicked off her presidential year in grand style that was true to her commitment to enjoying life while getting her work done. Not afraid to break from tradition. At her swearing-in banquet, President Armstrong asked a legal humorist to deliver the keynote address, probably a first, and arranged for a rousing performance of traditional and patriotic songs by the splendid 82nd Airborne Chorus, making all present proud to be Americans. And whereas President Armstrong perceived the need to improve communications and engagement with judicial district bar presidents. Therefore, she held a district bar president's lunch on May 19, 2023, at which over 64 district bar presidents and representatives gathered in the State Bar building to share their ideas on the issues the State Bar should study and on how to encourage lawyers at the local level to get involved in the district bars and in the work of the State Bar. And whereas President Armstrong's commitment to the professional responsibility to improve access to justice was demonstrated in her work to bring awareness to the problem caused by legal deserts in North Carolina. So in concert with James Jimbo Perry, the co-director of the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism,
On August 31, 2023, she convened the Legal Desert Summit, a day-long program that brought together over 70 stakeholders to share information, to brainstorm ways to ameliorate the problems of legal deserts, and to help flip the conversation to the benefits of practice in small communities in North Carolina that are really legal oases. And whereas throughout her service as a counselor and as an officer, President Armstrong was committed to highlighting, representing, and celebrating the unique experiences of lawyers serving Eastern North Carolina rural communities and where she often practices. And whereas two significant initiatives of the State Bar Council that will make compliance with the State Bar's regulations more equitable and manageable for our members came to fruition under the leadership of President Armstrong. To wit, the method for identifying lawyers for random trust account audits was examined and found to be disproportionately selecting lawyers in rural judicial districts. To rectify this problem, a policy will ensure that every active member of the State Bar has the equal probability of being selected for audit in any given year, was approved by the Council. The other initiative, the overhaul of the rules governing the continual legal education program, was also completed. Starting in 2024, compliance with and enforcement of CLE requirements will be simpler and less costly for lawyers and the State Bar alike. And whereas President Armstrong made an extraordinary effort to be an ambassador for the State Bar and thereby opening channels of communication with all legal constituencies, traveling across the state to speak to conferences for district and superior court judges, to clerks of court, and to law students, and presenting the State Bar's Distinguished Service Award to 6 members of the bar from communities throughout the state. And whereas President Armstrong's genius for taking bold action to better the lives of councils and staff was perhaps best displayed by her decision to move the start time for the community council meetings from 8 a.m. to the more civilized hours of 9 a.m. And whereas President Armstrong is affectionately known to her friends on the council and on the State Bar as Marcy, a person of extraordinary warmth, kindness, and generosity, who freely shares smiles, warm embraces, and splashes of her favorite red wine. And whereas as she hangs up her presidential breeches, President Armstrong's grateful wingmen and women raise their glasses for a splash or two to salute the author of Chapter 88 of the State Bar Story, and to the energy, insight, talent, and just plain fun she brought to her service as the 88th President of the State Bar. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the State Bar, North Carolina State Bar, does hereby, and with deep appreciation, express to Marcy Armstrong its debt for her personal service to the State Bar, to the people of North Carolina, and to the legal profession, and for her dedication to the principles of leadership, integrity, professionalism, and equality. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be made part of the minutes of the annual meeting of the North Carolina State Bar, and that a copy be delivered to Marcia H. Armstrong.
You've heard me enough, I'm not going to say anything else, and I look forward to seeing you next summer on either both the pickleball court and the dance floor, so. I have, at this time, I get, well, stand up. Makes me nervous when I have a gavel in my hand. I think at this time, I'm very excited to pass the gavel to my wingman, one of my very best friends now, and he's going to be a super, super president for the state.
Come on down.
Let me get your chair for you.
I now request that Darren escort Catherine Fry to the bench. The state law officers now being fully assembled as my first order of duty. I call for a motion to adjourn.